Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the call. My watch says we have 5 minutes until the start of the call. We will begin promptly at 12 noon. Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is 12 o'clock noon on the dot per my watch. I want to welcome you to the fourth session of this installment of I Am State Certified Now What? We also call this the Empowerment Series. We've already hosted Empowering Communities to Succeed Through Collaboration, Empowering Communities to Succeed Through Access to Capital. And today we're going to focus on empowering communities to succeed through contracts. My name is Chandrita Boykins. I'm the Manager of Business Development and Entrepreneurship. Tim, go to the next slide for me. And I will be your moderator for the day. As the moderator, I do have a few house rules. Next slide, Tim. One, please mute your microphones. Two, please turn off your cameras. Three, please take notes. And four, excuse me, at the end of the session, save your questions to the end. At the end of the session, there will be a Q&A period. During that period, you'll be able to raise your hand and come off the microphone and ask your question. At that time, whichever speaker is more apt to answer that question will give you an answer on the spot. So please take notes as we go. but also remember to ask your questions at the end of the entire presentation. Next slide, Tim. First, coming to the virtual stage, we have Mr. David Moore. He is the EDGE Program Manager for the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission. Mr. Moore, the stage is all yours.
Hello, thank you very much. Thank you, Shadretta and Partner Development for organizing and presenting this event. My name is David Moore. I'm the EDGE Program Manager with the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission. OFCC is assigned to administer and be the contracting authority for $800 to $1 billion worth of construction on state-assisted projects each fiscal year. Administering would be overseeing the progression of the projects from design selection to construction completion. As the contracting authority, we're the entity that manages the physical and legal obligations written within state contracts. However, many projects are administered by the owner, who is also the contracting authority, and we'll review some of those examples today. My main duty is to help ensure that EDGE participation is active on all OFCC projects where applicable. Active meaning EDGE certified businesses who are ready, willing, and able are part of a project and providing a valid service and not just serving as an extra participant or as a pass-through on the contract. For those of you attending EDGE businesses that are attending today and provide services regarding building, design, and construction industry, I want to share with you how the OFCC website as a no-cost can be a valuable tool. The title of this session is, I'm certified, now what? The answer is that you're just getting started and it's time to focus and find your niche within a large pool of contracts and opportunities. It's not automatic as one would think, but certainly doable. I'll share my screen with you here. Hopefully everyone can see that. Yes,
we can.
No? Okay,
yes.
Good. Thank you. This is the OFCC website. There is a lot of information here, but this will list the state's capital projects by OFCC, agencies, colleges, and universities. One misnomer is that OFCC has total control of all projects listed on the website. Not so. It is a portal of projects throughout the state of Ohio. This is our home page, and for those of you that are interested in construction projects, if you scroll down, there's a section that will say sign up. You want to click onto that and enter your name and information and click these two boxes here. What this will do, this will notify you of every new posting and every request for qualifications. This lets you know what projects are being put out on the streets, who the owners are, and what the scope entails. You will find the projects under opportunities. We'll go to through the 3 to 5 different types of procurements and try to give you some insight on how you can learn the scope, the budget, the location, the owner, and where the project is located. First section here is qualification-based RFQs. This is for those that are first involved with the project design. It's geared for lead architects, engineers, and special consultants. It's award-based qualifications, which means the most experienced and qualified usually is awarded the project. Let's take a look at a project here. look at this first one here. This is the published date. It's the date that it's going out to the public for notification. Due date. This is telling you when the request for qualifications is due into the system. This is very important. The project number. If you click onto the project number, this tells you everything about the project. Where it's located, who is the owner, who is the contracting owner. So this is a DRC, Department of Rehab and Corrections project. London Correctional Institution, is located in London, Madison County. Contracting authority, when it says local agency or local administration, that is telling you that this agency, DRC, is the owner of the project, and they are sort of the contracting authority. So that is the entity that is going to take a look at the qualifications. That's the entity that's going to make a decision on the lead architect for this project. From a construction standpoint, it's telling you the delivery method is general construction. That's key. So somewhere down in this project, there will be, and we'll get to that, it will tell you when the general contracting bids are on the street. Project description. That's where anyone that's interested in this project can find out if their services are needed. You're going to look for keywords: design, construction, and this one is dealing with renovation. So it's telling you it's not a new build. DRC has a lot of projects. They aren't building new prisons, but they're renovating majority of them. Energy projects, lighting, new cell doors, new roofs, new plumbing, anything to bring them up to today's standards. So in this description, you would determine if there are services that your company provides. So here there's this building is over 100 years old. They're going to do new dormitories. So there's interior and exterior work. There's roofing, and there's HVAC work. But what the RFQ is asking for, architects who will make a determination on the amount of work that needs to be done, the timing of the work that needs to be done. In the scope, basically it's about a design and the cost of the construction. Here it's saying that the budget is $3 million. The construction portion of it is 2.7. How does this pertain to you? If you're in the construction industry, 5% of this 2.7 million is to be formed by an EDGE certified company. So roughly $135,000 of this construction cost and the work should be performed by an EDGE certified business. It could be one or it could be numerous. That leaves about $293,000 from an architect's perspective. They also have to have EDGE participation, as it advertised here at 5%. So their contract's about $293,000, so another $14.6 thousand will be performed in professional services. So that is how you find out the budget. That is how you find out the scope of the project and if there's any services in that section for this project that your business can provide. Again, the owner is Department of Rehab and Corrections. The name. Primary services in this RFQ, again, they're looking for a lead AE. Estimated budget is $3 million. At this point, there are no questions and answers. Before the RFQ is submitted, those interested can submit questions They are public, so the questions will be posted there. Even if you didn't ask the question or not, you can learn what the questions are and the answer. Here is something you can come back to a later date. There will be 3 architect firms listed there. One with the asterisk received the job. However, again, this is giving you a customer base for this project and for future bases. As you'll see over a period of time, all these will have 3 names here. You will see 10 to 20 firms that do most of the work. If you're in the professional services industry, design, special consulting, engineering, there's where your customer base will be for this project and future projects. Next would be the best value selection. There's basically 2 components that are used here. It's based on the price and work experience. This is where the owner is looking for a construction firm to lead the project. We'll take a look at and this is updated daily, so sometimes these projects move on me. This is a very interesting project here. Owner is University of Cincinnati. Redevelopment of 2 city blocks that are close to the university. The budget, $100 million. These 3 firms have made what we call the short list. Whiting Turner Contracting, which is based, I believe, in the Columbus area. Messer Construction, based in the Cincinnati area, and Turner Construction. Again, we click onto the project. This is where we learn the scope. University of Cincinnati, Hamilton County. Contracting authority, again, local. So that means in Cincinnati is, University of Cincinnati is the contracting authority and the owner. Again, they're making the selection, not OFCC. Delivery method for the construction would be a C at risk, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. Again, I, as someone that's an edge company in the Cincinnati, Dayton area within 50 miles, this project is $100 million. I'm going to take a look at it. What does it entail? Here, 2 city blocks. We learn that 1 block, they're going to do a 300 space parking garage, 625 bed dormitory style housing, another 20,000 square feet of probably retail space. So I know it's a new build, new construction. There's going to be materials as far as bedding. There's going to be new air conditioning, new roof. Everything's new here. So if I am in any of the construction services that fit this project, I'm going to follow it and look into it. Second block is also, they're going to do some housing, and again, 10,000 square foot of retail space. So this is a very interesting project because we know it's a large budget. We know it's a new build. It's an urban development, so it's going to involve a lot of action and potential. So from a budget standpoint, $100 million total project. Construction costs at about 70 million. So we're looking at what, $7 million, because they're saying that the edge percentage, excuse me, the projected is 10%. I'm not sure where it went here, but I do know that it's 10%. So 10% of this total construction is to be formed by edge certified business. Here we go here. There's where it's advertised at 10%. One thing you have to consider if you're going to look at projects is the time frame. two major components with construction: budget and schedule. The true construction here starts in September, if everything goes well. However, the project doesn't end until 2025. So depending on your services, if you're HVAC subcontractor and you're involved in this project, you're going to be involved somewhere in 2024 to early 2025. Do you have the ability to schedule out that far? That's one thing company's going to be interested in. So we've got a 2 to 3 year project here. Your scope is not needed for another year and a half. Can you be sure to schedule and be available when we need you? Every aspect and every part of the scope isn't done or needed early on the project. So we may have you as a surveyor here in the pre-construction phase and we'll never see you again. But for those that are doing construction as the building is being built, electrical, plumbing, that may not be needed for another year. Do you have the ability and the bond ability to guarantee us that you're going to be available at that time? "75% of large construction projects are done due to the CMR method, which is construction at risk, which is saying that the lead construction company that wins this project is taking on all the risks. They're guaranteeing that you're bondable. They're guaranteeing that you are going to provide a valid service. They take on all the insurance risk. So Cincinnati is interviewing those three companies who will make a selection, and that will be posted with the asterisks so you know who won that job. Feel free to contact all three of those companies. Whiting, Master, and Turner. Let them know you're interested. Try to get a one-on-one, a face-to-face time to introduce your business and your services to them, to impress upon them that you're worthy of being part of their team. Yes, they have to get 5% participant, in this case, 10% participation. However, they're not obligated to select your HVAC company if they find someone else that's more compatible in their eyes. So what you need to do is impress upon them that you can do the job. Then we have construction bids. These are where construction scope is broken down into all the trades. It's a smaller scope. So if a project is, let's say that Cincinnati project is 100 million, and construction's 700 million, they're going to break down those different scopes. They're going to have a budget for plumbing, a budget for roofing, a budget for all those aspects, and then they will put may put a bid out for that. So in construction bids, in most cases, these are not highlighted because public bid announcements. That's where you find out where the project is and when bids are due. This one here is Marion, Ohio, for DRC, general renovations. It says here that bids are due by 2 p.m. on February 23rd. This is coming up. Edge participation is 5%. Estimated costs. They're looking for a general contractor. Initial bids at $2.7 million. Alternates are based on how the bids come in, whether they will include these three alternates. They may include one, they may include all three. They may not include any based on what type of bidding they get here. There's also notifying you that there is a pre-bid meeting. In this particular case, they've already had the pre-bid meeting. But if you're interested in a project and it's close enough for you to drive, it is to your advantage to go to these pre-bid meetings. One, because there is a tracking of who attended, and you request a list of all the contractors were there. It also gives you the ability to network with those that are going to bid on a contract. Okay. This is the basic solicitation. It's kind of re-emphasizing what the project is, who the architect is of the project, and the scope. For those of you that are going to bid on a project, since 2012 construction reform, all bidding is done electronically. So you can view the project by signing up through here, but there is a small fee to bid on projects. That is the only way you can participate in bidding, is through the Bid Express portal. And then eventually it will give you a notification of who won the project. Notice the commencements. These are a listing of projects that have gone through the procurement process, and it gives you knowledge of who won the project, when the project starts, and those type of things. So if you want to find out about a project you had inquired about or reached out to someone, this will tell you who actually won the project. Consultant lists, for those, this is more of a specialty. They vary. In a lot of cases, it's not direct construction. It's more of a, as you can see here, there's planning, there's assessment, and those type of things. More of a far further outlook on potential projects and different structures for the various agencies. There's also on this, wants to play games with me sometimes. I can't get on it, but this will give you a list of agencies that manage their own projects. You can click on here, you can get notifications, you can find out names of those that are in the construction sections. And in some cases, they will also have a listing of the same projects that are also on our website. Currently, as I see it, those companies, those agencies that are doing majority of the work are Department of Natural Resources. There are a lot of projects throughout the entire state. Renovations of the cabins, bikeways, walkways, pools, the restaurant sections of the lodges. The Department of Rehab and Corrections is doing a lot of renovations of prisons. Again, not building any new ones, but a lot of renovations. Also, you'll hear from them today is Department of Transportation. A lot of projects there. All colleges and universities and higher learning institutions or doing a lot of construction. I'll end with a quote. Taking action and failing is better than taking no action at all. I urge you to use this as a source, drill down to see if there's specifics that in scope for your services, and pursue these projects. Appear at meetings, ask questions, ask for the job. And hopefully that you find this information informative and helpful. Thank you.
Mr. Moore, I can imagine that everyone is giving you a hand clap. Thank you so much. Just great information, a wealth of knowledge. He not only gave you all what, but he also gave you how. And I love that quote at the end, taking action and failing is better than taking no action at all. My grandmother would say it this way, nothing beats a maybe but a try. And so thank you again so much for imparting that wisdom in us. Please stick around because I'm sure that there will be some questions for you at the end of the entire presentation.
Thank you.
Next, I want to bring to the stage Lorraine Stevens. She joined the Ohio Department of Transportation, aka ODOT, in July of 2016. She is the Regional Outreach Manager for the Office of Outreach within the Division of Opportunity, Diversity, and Inclusion. Lorraine is responsible for minority, women, small business, and veteran-owned business outreach. Lorraine, Tim is going to be advancing your slides for you. So I'm going to invite you to the virtual stage. All you have to say is next slide, please, and Tim will move your slide. Thank you so much. You're currently on mute, Lorraine.
Oh, thank you. So again, I am the Regional Outreach Manager for Central and Southeast Ohio for the Office of Outreach under the Division of Opportunity, Diversity, and Inclusion, also known as ODI. Next slide. So during this presentation, we will briefly cover ODOT's mission, ODI overview, types of certification, how to locate ODOT opportunities, ODI resources, updates, and contacts. And then this will be a brief overview and of our certification and business opportunities. And for your convenience, slides can contain active links. Next slide. So ODOT is responsible for our state's highway infrastructure system. So our mission is to provide easy movement of people from place to place. And a way to do that is to take care of what we have, make our system work better, improve safety, and enhance capacity. Next slide. So the Division of ODI is led by our Deputy Director, Lauren Purdy, and we have 3 offices that fall up underneath. So we have the Office of Business and Economic Opportunity led by Deborah Green that covers all things DBE and SBE certification, DBE supportive services. Then we have the Office of Civil Rights Compliance led by Katie LaPlace. This office takes care of all things prevailing wage, certified payroll, CUP. And then we also have the Office of Outreach where I'm at, which is led by Lynn Stevens. We provide education such as workshop and events and webinars. We also provide communication by promoting projects with DBE and EDGE goals, just to name that. And then we also partner with federal, local, state agencies and business development organizations. Go ahead, next slide. So applications for the DBE and SBE certifications are handled in the Office of Business and Economic Opportunity. And then all other certifications such as MBE, EDGE, and VFBE are managed at the Department of Development. And then here on this site, you have the opportunity to click on any of the certification boxes to find out more about each one. Next slide. So next we're going to cover DBE, MBE, SBE set aside, and EDGE. Next slide. So again, the Office of Business and Economic Opportunity handles the DBE certification. This is for members that are reputably presumed to be socially and economically disadvantaged. You have to manage and control your firm and meet the SBA size standards have a personal net worth not to exceed the 1.32 million, and is an independent business. DBE has a current goal of 15.7% of federally funded highway construction and design contracts for fiscal year 23, 24, and 25. And then any agency that receives federal funding will have a DBE, can have DBE goals. So such as ODOT, local LETs, such as local cities and counties, transit systems, airports, and those who do business with highway business with surrounding states. Next slide. So MBE, so the Ohio Minority Business Enterprise Program is administered by the Department of Development. It's designed to assist with minority businesses to obtain state government contracts for goods and services. So MBE applies to procurement of goods and services, professional IT, and by clicking on the check the procurement, you can be directed to the Ohio buys for the latest bid announcement. And then if you click on the green launch button, it'll take you to more information about the program itself. Next slide. So SBE set aside. So SBE program is a race gender neutral set aside program that restricts competition for prime contracts on certain federally funded highway construction and design contracts to small businesses that have been certified through the program. Set aside programs are for projects under 2 million, and the firm must be pre-qualified at time of bid with ODOT in order to bid on SBE set aside projects, and can perform or exercise personally for 30% of the total cost of its contract on its workforce. So just note the SBE certification is not intended for and will provide no benefit to firms that do not intend to participate in ODOT contracting and consulting activities as a prime contractor. Next slide. So EDGE certification is an assistance program for economically and socially disadvantaged business enterprise. So 5% of highway construction or design contracts that are 100% state funded, such as bridge repair, highway lighting, resurfacing, and design services. The program establishes goals for state agencies, boards, and commissions in awarding contracts and certified EDGE eligible businesses. Next slide. So doing business with ODOT. So we discussed some of the certifications to include a brief overview of pre-qualifications and requirements. Now we will briefly move on to how to locate these opportunities. So for your convenience, I've included links for all the opportunities that's listed on the next few slides. So for bidding construction projects, the slide depicts an example of quick links where you can view items such as bidding documents, pre-bid questions, upcoming projects, and sold projects. Here you can also subscribe to plan holders list and design build consultant information that will come directly to your email. Construction projects is led by the Office of Contracts. So by clicking on the procurement opportunities, you're able to view the information such as current and upcoming invitations to bid, requests for purchase, and a request for information. Here you can also find more information about consignment agreements, ODOT cooperative purchasing program. Then you can also click on Ion Wave to find current bids, closed bids. Next slide. So construction contracts. So the current and upcoming bidding documents is where you're going to find and view projects where it has the project numbers, the PID numbers, the project type, plan holder tab, and view if a project has a DBE or EDGE goal. You can also check out the bid letting pamphlet, which comes out twice a month, 1 to 60 projects per letting, which is about 800 projects per year. Here you can locate the exact PID or contract number, and by using the current and upcoming bidding document, you can narrow down the search. So for more information about pre-qualification and certification questions, you can go ahead and click that link as well. So next slide, sorry. So purchasing contracts. So all potential bidders are encouraged to use the vendor pre-bid forum to request clarification for information for bids and view answers and questions. The MBE program is designed to assist minority business in obtaining state government contracts that do not involve federal funds. ODOT's goal is a 20% set aside and 5% participation for 100% state-funded purchases of goods and services such as snow plows, aggregate, quick-setting concrete, traffic cones, just to name a few. And then new bidders should register on the Ohio Bid Buys account. Next slide. So this is an example of a current purchasing contract. These are the 800 series. So these are, some of these could be MBE set-asides, but they're not limited to the MBE set-asides. Next slide. So non-DBE opportunities with ODOT. So there are also opportunities through the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission that could do like major renovations for ODOT and other state agencies, colleges, and universities. ODOT facility projects might include renovation, replacement of headquarters, full service facilities, outposts, rest areas, and salt barns. You can also check out the state term contract link, where you can locate contracts that are procured through the Department of Development for all state agencies to utilize, and the State of Ohio IT Staff Augmentation Program, which is used by the state and other public sector organizations as the preferred method for procuring hourly time and material resources. Next slide. So here you will find other links to use for opportunities such as quote opportunities, invitation to bid, 800 series, request for proposals, and current contracts that are currently awarded and utilized for reference. Next slide. So DBE finding resources. So ODOT's primary goal for the DBE Supportive Service Program is to assist DBE construction and consulting heavy highway firms to compete and perform on federally funded heavy highway construction projects. If you are DBE certified, then please check out the links. These are great resources such as the Mentor Protege Program, PEI Supportive Services, and the DBE e-learning class. For the Office of Outreach, we act as a liaison between the business community and ODOT, and you can sign up for our newsletter, bid notices, and locate information on the Small Business Library as well. Next slide. So just to give you an update, there is a little typo in here. So it's 2023. So we are planning our first Ohio MBE Expo coming up. It will be June 21st, 2023, and it will be located at the Ohio Expo Center and State Fairgrounds in Columbus. And then we also have the Brent Spence Bridge going on right now, which is a $2.8 billion project, and currently working on setting the DBE goal. Next slide. So the state of Ohio ODOT offices are divided up into 12 districts. So your regional outreach manager is your central contact to all things related. One slide back, I'm sorry, for the context, or slide's not in there. So I'll go ahead and I'll include our contact information. So outreach can be a liaison between you and the certification office, and then you can also reach out to us at outreach@dot.ohio.gov. Right here, our contact information. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Lorraine. We appreciate you. I love ODOT as a partner of ours. All of the Stevens are great. You're great.
Yes,
Lynette is
thank
great. So thank you so much for being here with us. Please stick around for questions at the end. I'm sure that there'll be some questions for you as well. Next, coming to the virtual stage, we have my colleague. He works right here in the Minority Business Development Division, 2 doors down. It is Mr. Donald Simpson Jr. himself, and he is the Business Certification Compliance Manager. Donald, the mic is yours.
Good afternoon, all, and I'd like to thank our leadership for the opportunity to share with you during this occasion regarding joint venture. Next slide, please. Basically, we're going to just cover real quickly 5 key points regarding joint ventures. Joint ventures just simply means we're going to cover the rule, the purposes, the advantages, concerns, obtaining the certification and requirements, how to apply, and the documents, and then my contact information. Joint ventures, next slide, are basically where a business owner comes together, two or more. But the important thing is that one of the companies has to be already MBE, EDGE, or WBE certified in order to form a joint venture. They are project specific, meaning that the joint venture can only apply to that specific contract or um, um, basically that's it. The contract that's awarded to you is for that particular purposes. As I've stated, one of the business must be Ohio certified business partnering, otherwise agreeing to join another business, as you can see there on the slide there. Number two, both parties, the relationship must benefit for both parties, meaning that the MBE, EDGE, WBE, and or the MBE, EDGE, WBE, and the joining company uh, must receive a benefit from it. And I've kind of pretty much already explained the eligibility. Next slide, please. Here is the rule. And I purposely put that rule there because this is one of the easiest rules to follow when it comes to joint venture, because it plainly tells you exactly what to do when it comes to joint venturing. And so I encourage you to pay attention to that rule that's listed right there. If you go there, you will not have any problems. Due to time, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time explaining this rule due to our time in the Q&A session that's going to take place. So I strongly encourage you to, when you get an opportunity or a chance, to go out there and look at the Ohio Administrative Code Rule 123:2-14-05. Next slide, please. And it's a continuation of this particular rule. Next slide, please. Here are the advantages of a joint venture. Years ago, due to how joint ventures were being done and executed and or applied when it came to contracting, a lot of seasoned persons may not have signed off on joint ventures. But as due to time changes and where we are today, it's important that you take a look at joint venturing opportunities. Here's number one: increase revenue, gain access to new products, geographic markets, and customer segment and network channels. Access to new managerial skills or business processes, meaning that when you hook up with or join up or unite with a company that might be larger than yours, you can, you learn things. It helps you gain experience on how your larger companies execute or operate their business. You also have a capitalization of economically on the scale. Maximize purchasing discounts, utilize excess capacity, and gain additional capacity and experience. Augment owner and business skills and assets. Next slide, please. Continue on reduction of operating costs, because you're no longer the only one having those costs. Elimination of need of additional fixed access, building, storage, equipment, etc. Bonding fees, and minimize large scale capacity and capital investments. Next slide. Also, tax advantages, split tax costs, access to capital and funding sources, private equity, debt financing, higher credit limits. Next slide, please. Here are the joint venturing concerns that when you do go into this joint venture, make sure that you know the possibilities of unintended partnerships. Partnerships can be created whether or not the parties intend for it to form or not. The best test to ensure the unintended partners are not formed is as follows. Do the parties intend to carry on as co-owners as the business for profit? Number two, if a partnership is created intentionally or not intentionally, each partner is jointly and severally liable for all obligations of the partnership, meaning that once you unite together, you're in it together. Next slide, please. I basically already shared this with you, but here's the difference. When it comes to MBE and WBE, they must contribute, must be 51 owned and controlled by a certified company. And we already talked about that, but here's the difference when it comes to MBE and WBE. The certified company cannot have less than 51% of the property in the investment ratio, meaning that when it comes to MBE and WBE, the 51% owner or the certified company, they have to contribute 51% of the capital and investment and/or materials, whatever it takes to do that joint venture. However, when it comes to next slide. However, when it comes to Edge, it's the same when it comes to 51% ownership, but when it comes to Edge, only 30% of the profit and investment ratio. So you see a major difference between when it comes to MBE and WBE, they have to put up 51%, whereas the Edge only they have to have 51% owner control, yet they only have to put up 30%. Next slide, please. When I mentioned to you about in the rule that it tells you exactly how to put your joint venture together, that's what this slide is right here. And this is in the rule 123:2-14-05. It tells you exactly number by number, and this is straight from the code or the rule. One, next slide, please. 19, all of that shares that information with you. Obtaining certification to facilitate prompt certification. The joint venture agreement. If you want us to promptly look at your joint venture or JV, may be submitted and approved prior to issuance of the state bid or request for proposal, meaning that if you already have formed your joint venture and you know the project that you want to work on or bid on, you can submit your information to us. We'll look at it and make sure that it meets the guidelines according to the Ohio Administrative Code. The JV certification is only for 1 year. So if you have a project that you're on and we have to, and this goes longer than 1 year, we'll take the necessary steps in communicating that with you. And you can see it right here, where number 2, if the JV is awarded a contract based on approved joint venture agreement and the contract will exceed 1 year duration, JV must submit its joint venture agreement, and that information there is was only quoted for DAS EOD because it's quoted in the rule. It's really going to be to Minority Business Development division to us for, each year for the recertification. So that step will be a little different when it comes to recertification. That's why we said we will look at and take care of it as long as you submit the proper documentation. If JV certification is approved and the JV is not awarded a contract, the joint venture agreement can be revised and submitted for reapproval to meet the new contracting opportunity. So then if, we approved it in a pre-qualifying stage, and something changes, we'll ask you to revise it and move from there. Now, here's a key point right here, this next one. If a material change occurs that affects the joint venture agreement from the originally approved, the coordinator or our division, the BCCU or Stacy or any of our leadership, then the JV members will provide to us with the information detailing the material change within 30 days, meaning that if a company has been approved and then all of a sudden something changed during your certification time, you must notify us immediately within 30 days of that change of ownership. Failure to provide the change of joint venture agreement may cause us pulling your certification. Next slide, please. To obtain MBE, Edge, or WBE joint venture certification, certified company must complete an online application on the Ohio Business Gateway. Additionally, the certified company must submit a signed copy of the joint venture agreement that supports the documents to the email address provided for you. I know this was pretty quick. Like I said, it's due to time. And so if you have any further questions, I'm here at the end. And here's our information that's here for you to review as well. Thank you for your time. Thank leadership for the opportunity, and everybody have a great day.
Thank you, Donald. We really appreciate that. Just again, I'm sure that everybody is on info overload, as I am today. I've been trying to take notes and keep up. Thankfully, these sessions are recorded, so you all will receive a recording of the session along with the slides. So as you go through, if you have any questions further than the ones that you'll be asking in a few minutes, you're able to reach out to the individuals who have those answers for you. So even though I enjoy information, because I believe that you have to have information for application. And then once you apply that information, then there's transformation. So thank you all of our speakers today for your information. Next, we're going to move to our success stories, which is arguably my favorite part of these. I'm a sucker for a good story. And so first up, Tim, next slide for me. We are going to have Mr. Rob Adams. He definitely has an amazing story of how he started his business and how business is going. So Mr. Adams, I'm going to bring you to the virtual stage if you want to come off cam or come on camera and share kind of what your success has been with the help of our agency and others. We would appreciate hearing from you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rob Adams. I started Adams Trucking in 1997 there, and we hauled a lot of dirt, stone, aggregates, blacktop, and stuff like that. We've been EDGE certified for the past 5 years, I believe. I lost it one time there by not following up, and I wasn't getting some jobs, so that kind of made me a little laxy daisy in it because I didn't feel like I was getting to get jobs. And then a job came to me, and I called Mr. Collins and Tim, and my stuff had expired, and they got me into this accelerated program to through the Urban League to get it back, and I was able to gain it back and get this job at OSU with McDaniels Construction and Turner, and it really, that was the first big job I got, and it really helped me a lot. But it's a lot of things when you get these jobs, like Mr. Moore was saying, you got to be in a time frame because primarily we do asphalt. And during the summer, that's our asphalt season. So you got to be able to be available to do these jobs at that time that you signed to meet up these people, EDGE goals.
Did we lose you, Mr. Adams?
You back here? Am I back?
Yeah,
Okay.
we hear you now. Go ahead, dude.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he's having some connection issues,
I got him
Mr.
in.
Adams.
I got him in.
Okay.
All right, I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I didn't know how to get the phone to not take a call, and it seemed like I'm getting a call. But a lot of things you got, like Mr. Moore had pointed out too. You got to know those time dates that you're going to be available to do these jobs, and you got to participate at these invites to get your name known and meet people, meet them firsthand and talk to them, because you get a lot of emails, and you think once you get these certifications that stuff's just going to fall right in your lap, and it's not. Because you got to know these people. They got to kind of trust you, because when these jobs pay and you got brokers working for you and you responsible for this payroll, they want to make sure that these other people are getting paid too. So don't no liens or nothing come against these jobs and hold the jobs up and hold these other people up from getting paid too. So it's a lot involved. And another thing too, I didn't realize too, till I got that job too, is that you be responsible for some of the stone bill, because I'm in the dump truck. And so when I was dump, I was responsible to pay the dump. Then I had to buy stone for the job. So you had to have some money to be able to buy these materials, because the stone bill can accumulate real quick and high. It gets expensive real quick. And then you got to find out, how do these companies pay you? if you can't stand to wait 60 days, you can't take this job from this company, or you might have to negotiate some better terms with this company to get paid a little sooner than 60 days, because that's a long time. And sometimes the stone bill could get very, very expensive real quick if you got 6 or 7 trucks on that job making, hauling materials. And they may be doing 1,600-1,800 a day in just stone material, and you got 6 trucks there. It could get real expensive quick. And Corey wants their money every 30 days. But if these people's only paying you 60, you may have some problems there, because they may cut the stone off and you may not be able to continue. So you have to negotiate and work everything out, and see how they're gonna pay you, because that's important too, because everyone can't stomach that long term, and it gets a little dangerous. And you want to be able to keep people on the job that's working for you too, because you got the contract and you need the trucks. If they want these 6 trucks on the job and you start not paying these people, you're going to be losing trucks, and there's nothing getting done. So it's a lot that you got to take in. You'd be glad to get it, but you got to look at everything and see what's involved so that you could be able to handle it without stressing yourself out. Now, with me, a lot of times we're smaller. It's me, my wife, and my son. We all drive, and I'm able to be on the job with the contractors and that, so I can watch the other truckers, and we can communicate, get to the gravel site, get back, so that we're giving the contractor his fair share too, and then they're treating us right too. So. Guess I don't know how much time we got here, but whatever, we open for questions or something if anybody want to know anything.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Thank you. I appreciate, like I said, your story and just admiring your success. Mr. Adams, I do know, is being very modest. He is also a mentor. He has helped several other young men, I think between 4 and 7, actually start their own trucking companies. And those that I know are very successful business owners now. And so thank you for all that you do, even passing down your knowledge to others so that they can mirror your success. And so we just appreciate you. If you would stick around for me, a lot of times the audience has questions for the success stories. So if you can hold on for me, we may have some questions for you.
No
We
problem.
have another success. Thank you, Mr. Adams. We have another success story. This is Miss Tamra. She has several years in the construction industry. Her experience includes project management, customer service, budget analytics, and accounting. Tamra's responsible for managing and scheduling the projects, along with following up with clients to ensure their satisfaction. And she is currently studying integrated system management at y'all know the rest. I'll leave it right there at So Tamara, if you are on the call, please come off camera or come on camera and give us a little bit about your success as a female in the construction and roofing industry.
Hi, Ms. Chandretta. Thank you so much for that introduction. Of course, with our company, Brownwood Roofing Ohio, this is a company my husband, Ed Brown, and I had started back in 2019. We met Timothy Collins. We went through all the paperwork. It can be tedious, but it is worth it. It's beneficial. Once you get all the paperwork in, you get certified, you start getting emails for jobs. Well, actually, before that, you actually have to go apply to be a vendor or sign up to be a vendor with the state of Ohio. Once you get all the certifications and everything, then of course you start getting emails or get invited to bid to jobs. I will say that, it didn't come so fast for us. Of course, we probably didn't get our first job with the state of Ohio until maybe, I want to say, last year. And this is a job that we did with Ohio Department of Natural Resources at a Deer Creek Park. It was actually 25 cabins that we re-roofed. We did such a great job, and it helped to solidify our relationship with the state of Ohio. So we're very grateful for that, and we look forward to doing other projects. Because of that project, we've been invited to bid on other projects with the state of Ohio. And like I said, it didn't come so easy, and it didn't come so swiftly once we got the certification. You will go through times where you have to bid and rebid, and it's all worth it in the end. Eventually, that job will come, but you just have to stick with it. And that's all I would really have to say as of right now. But in the meantime, like I said, you won't win every job or every bid, and that's okay. You know, your time eventually will come. You just continue to improve your skill set or your product that you're pushing or that you're marketing, you know, and when the opportunity presents itself, you know, make sure that you're really, really make sure that you're making it known why you stand out from your competition. And for those bids that you don't win, you always want to ask for feedback. Like, what was it, you know, did I come in at a high end or the low end? What I could have done differently? I would say, like, from every experience, just try to learn from it and use it to hone your skill and improve your bidding or your ability to bid on projects. That's all I have to say.
Tamara, thank you so much for giving us that game. That is phenomenal. And I think it's all about your perspective, right? It was like, this is not a no, just a not yet. Sometimes
Yes.
we see the N-O period and we stop, but we don't realize that there's two more dots after that and a T and a Y-E-T. So it's not a no, but a not yet. So your perseverance and your perspective turns that around. And I think you dispelled a myth as well. A lot of people think certifications guarantee you bids, and they get your foot in the door, but it's you who have to make that that bid come to pass. So thank you so very much. Right now is our time for Q&A. So if you have a question for our speakers today or any of our success stories, you are free to raise your hand. There's a Thank you, Janet. Did it? There is a button at the top that says raise hand. We will call your name and you can come off the mic and ask your question. So we are going to go to, I believe that is, hold on one second. Janet Grundy. Feel free to come off the mic, dear, and ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Okay. This question is for both the OFCC and the ODOT presenters. We're not in construction. We are a apparel and embroidery, commercial embroidery company. And I noticed that contractors have to wear safety apparel. How are those things obtained by the state? Well, by the state for one, and then the contractors for the Ohio facilities construction.
Oh, very good question. I'll take that. This is David, OFCC. That is not a budget item for the state. You would sell those goods directly to the construction companies.
Okay.
So, you know, the Gilbanes, the Smoots, just Google. That's who you would sell those directly to them.
So I
Now,
would
there may be something through Ohio Buys, but from a construction standpoint, that is something they're responsible to supply their own employees.
Okay. And how about ODOT?
I kind of agree as well. So through Ohio Buys is through the goods and services is where you would register your company there. You can also take a look to see if there's any like, you know, request for bids that's out there or request for more information. But that's where I would look on the procurement side for goods and services, and then get connected with the Ohio Buys.
Okay, thank you. Shandra, is there an email for Ohio Buys that you have?
Yeah, and yes, and it's actually on my PowerPoint as well. There's a link on there for you to go on there. So Ohio Buys used to be the Ohio Shared Services, and that's where you're going to go and register your company, and that's how you get paid. And so it's required for you to sign up there if you want to do any kind of business with ODOT.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moore and Lorraine. Are there any additional questions for our speakers, either the presenters or the success stories?
Chandrita, this is Stacy, and we do have a question someone sent. It was for Mr. Adams. They wanted to know if Mr. Adams had multiple trucks before getting awarded a job, or was it afterward?
I had multiple before when I got awarded the certification, but at that time I didn't get anything. It was hard trying to get the jobs. You get a lot of emails, but I wasn't getting them. I think just dealing with construction companies and working for them all day, and they see that you provide a good service, and they had already had their minority, and something happened, and the guy didn't renew his edge, and they asked me, did I have it, and I said I did, and then when I went and gave him, shot him the copy, and it was expired, and that's when I went through the process, and they got me through the accelerated program. But at that time, we did have multiple trucks too.
Awesome, thank you. Anyone else? I hear that it's a good thing when there are no questions. That means the speakers were very thorough. I know that there was a lot of information disseminated today. I want to make sure while you have these individuals live and you have a captive audience that you're able to get your questions answered.
This is David. Can I tie into something that Ms. Brown said? If you don't win the bid and it's a public bid, you can ask for a debrief. And basically that's going to whoever is doing the hiring and saying, what is it about my bid that wasn't successful? Are my per item cost too high? Am my overall cost too high? So you can ask them that and get that feedback. Plus, public bids are public. You can see the results of the winning amount and the winning bid. So it's not like, hey, you were too high. You can actually find out what the low bid was.
I think that's great information. It's the why is so very important so that you can kind of govern yourselves accordingly for future opportunities. Stacy, I see your hand up. You're on mute if you're speaking.
Yes, thank you, Chandrita. I did have one question, and it was something that you said. A lot of times we get asked questions about mentee and protege programs and things like that. And I just wanted to ask Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams, how did you get to mentoring the young men that we've heard you mentor? What made you do that? And was it a formal program, or how did you start mentoring other individuals in the construction industry?
I think a lot of guys would just they might have been enthused about the money that you can make in dump trucking, and just would come up and ask me questions. And I was always open and honest with people about the trucking industry, and I just try to always give people everything that I got, because it's a guy named Mr. Saunders that taught me everything and showed me everything in 1989, and he gave me everything that he knew and showed me how to work on trucks, repair trucks, and just keep going. He gave me a lot of information. I just try to always pass it on and to help anyone else that want to do anything to change their life or better their lives.
That's phenomenal. Thank you so much. Any additional questions? Are there any questions in the chat? I'm not able to monitor the chat. No? Well, I don't believe in belaboring.
Yeah, we got a question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, Ed Brown put some in there. We asked the project managers directly about the projects and process. You want to elaborate, Ed or Tamara?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, this is Ed Brown with Roofing, Ohio. Just to answer that question that was posed to my wife, Tamara. We always followed up with the emails when it comes to projects that we might have bid on. We follow up with whether either the project managers or the superintendents of the jobs regarding the process, whether we won the bid or if there's any amendments. Usually with most construction projects, you'll get email notifications about amendments on the jobs, telling you about, that's basically just questions about the jobs people are posing, and or any kind of changes to the job projects, whether it be scheduling or any kind of materials that might be used, or any kind of just location changes or anything like that. So all those questions can be asked to the project managers of the job. Usually they're the ones that answer the questions for you. And that
Great,
actually,
thank you.
that question was for, I think her name was Deirdre B, that I was just responding to.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. I do see a question that says, when do we get the email for the presentation materials? You will receive the every presentation and every recording at the end. So we have one more session next week. And after that is over, then those things will be distributed. So thank you for that question. Any other questions? We have scheduled 18 more minutes. But I know that you all are entrepreneurs and business owners, and you got to turn that wrench, or you have to get back to the money. And we don't want to belabor the time if there is nothing else, but I want to make sure that you are able to get your questions answered while there is a captive audience of experts. So if there are questions, please come off the mic, raise your hand, and ask them. If not, we will give you a few minutes back today, because we definitely want to see you guys here on our final presentation, which is next week. So next week's, any final questions? No? Great. Next week's session is going to be empowering communities to succeed through our centers. Many of you met with our MBAC centers to get your certifications done. And so they don't only do certifications. MBACs they wear many hats. I like to say. So they help businesses start up, stand up, and scale up. They help with all of the previous C's. So access to capital, contracts, collaborations, all of that. So we want to make sure that you are developing a relationship and being in that ecosystem, because a lot of times outside of us doing programs like this, where we invite you into the state and give you information, we disseminate our information through the MBAC centers. There are mouthpieces, our arms and our legs out in the community. And so if you are not connected to an MBAC, there's 7 regions across the state. You definitely want to become involved in that. And that's going to be what we hear from the state manager of our MBAC program. And we'll hear from our assistant chief next week. His name is Quincy Howard. I call him Boss Man. Bishop has about 13 nicknames from me, but he is just a wealth of experience and information and knowledge. And so is Aminata, who will be coming to you guys live next week. So we definitely want to see your smiling circles at the top, since we don't have our cameras on. But thank you to those who have participated and who continue to participate. And Mr. Adams, they're asking you to put your contact information in the chat for individuals who want to reach out to you.
Okay. Let me see
So
how
I'll
to do.
give you some time to do that. And so, Sherelle, the emails are not coming out individually, they are coming out collectively. So whatever email you registered for this session with, that's the email that the presentations will be sent to.
I ain't never been in this chat before. I'm trying to see how to put it out there.
If you don't know, you can give it to me and I'll type it in for you. Tim, do you have Mr. Adams' contact information? It looks like he got kicked out of the chat, out of the
Yeah, he coming back in.
Okay, perfect.
I'm sorry. I could give it to you.
Yes.
It's Rob Adams. My phone number is 614-9166. That's my cell number there.
So I got 614. I missed the middle part.
Okay. 636 614 636-9166.
Gotcha. Okay.
Feel free to reach out to me anytime or text me or something. I'll get right back to you, whoever. Anything I can help with, I'd be more than glad. Tim and everybody down at the state has been very helpful with me to help me get my EDGE certification and everything, because there's a lot of questions and a lot of stuff, and you get discouraged at time when you're going through that, where you kind of stopped and one day turned into 2 days, 2 days turned into 3. The next thing you look up, it's a month and you ain't done. But I appreciate all y'all's help that y'all give me. I call Tim all the time, and Tim refer people to me. So call me if I don't answer. Text me, let me know who it is, and I will answer you back.
We appreciate you, kind sir. And if all hearts and minds are clear, we will end the call here. We will see you guys next Wednesday, same time, same place.
All right.
Thank
Appreciate
you all. Thank you
Thank
so
Thank you,
much,
Mrs.
speakers.
Boykins.
Thank you.
All right, bye, y'all.
Take care. See everybody next week.
Take care.